Hey, how's it going, good people? Brad the Guitarologist here. If you follow guitar news, you may be aware that there's been a lot of controversy recently over the provenance of a guitar that was purported to be the very Stratocaster used by Jimi Hendrix, or one of the two Stratocasters used by Hendrix at the Monterey Pop Festival. Paul Davids made a video saying that he had played this guitar and showing the guitar in detail. Well, it came out soon thereafter. A lot of questions arose, some of which were brought up in guitar.com articles. Also, there were videos made by other YouTubers, including CGS, who is a smaller YouTube channel. I think he has about 40,000 or so subs, last I checked. Recently, I sat down with Mike, who is the owner of CGS. He had this to say about all of the controversy, which has now taken the form of the owners of the guitars threatening lawsuit against him. What's going on with this crap, dude? The Hendrix Strat people. First of all, what can you tell me about them as an entity? Is this Miles guy, is he just the point man for the person who owns it?
Okay, so Miles is what's called a media influencer, whatever one of those is. So I guess he kind of deals with YouTubers and with the press and the media to help out his clients. And so he's not the actual owner of the guitar, he's just helping out. And he was the guy that organized for Paul Davids to do the video and come over to London to do that video.
Speaking of Paul, Paul is, you know him personally and you consider him a friend, and you've met him. How many times have you met him personally? Is it?
Well, actually, we spent the week together at Henning's place for Gear Street 3. And we also spent another week together at TGU number 2. So we were twice in Germany. We've spent the week sort of in each other's company. I wouldn't say that we're thick as thieves, but we always got on really well. And yeah, I would consider him a friend, definitely. And of course, it was being a friend that made me want to expose the issue in the first place, because I didn't want him getting into any hot water over the potential that his video could have made that guitar sell for $10 million.
Right. So how much do you think that he got paid to do that gig?
I have no idea. Guitar? I have no idea.
Because you've got a flight from Germany to England involved, and you've got all of that rigmarole. And
well, he's from Holland.
Okay.
So he would have flown to London. I don't know if they paid for the flight. All I know is that Paul is probably one of the biggest guitar-based YouTubers, and I doubt very much that it was a drop in the ocean for him. So I don't know whether he paid for that himself or whether it was paid for by them. And obviously I can't comment on that because I don't know whether or not it was paid for or whether or not he actually got paid to make the video. I would assume not, because looking at the excitement that he had, I would say he was convinced it was a Hendrix Strat and he just wanted to come over and play it. I reckon that he was really, really excited.
Yeah, not to, you know, again, not to make assumptions where I don't know anything, you know, because I don't know 100%, but I would say the opposite is probably true, that I would be very surprised if he did not get paid and he was over there just looking for a good story, because YouTubers of that size, in my experience, typically they kind of don't do that unless, you know, yes, granted, there was a big video in it for him, and I'm sure he did well with that. But you know, to me, that's a drop in the bucket versus what you could make in a kind of a commission promoting an instrument like that, if indeed it brought anything near $10 million. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
to me, that would be really stupid of him not to get paid with that amount of audience, and just to do it free out of the goodness of his heart. YouTubers don't do that. And I think once you get, I'm not big really in the scheme of things, and you're not either. And we're just kind of small fish in this big barrel. And, I think most of the people around us are making a lot of money, and you and I are probably some of the only ones who aren't. And the reason for that is our skepticism. I think your skepticism of instruments has led you down a path to seek truth in a way. And I think my skepticism of things has led me down a similar path when it comes to amplifiers and other things. So, people, in spite of 130,000 subscribers on my channel, companies don't reach out to me. They kind of know better because they know I'll tell the truth about whatever. So
for sure. And I think that's one of the best things that any of us can do. I've always been about telling the real story, telling the truth. And I guess that might penalize the channel long term, but I don't worry about that. I make content because I enjoy it. But what I would say is, having seen him go to Gear Street, I know that he didn't really accept any payment for that at all. He's got the Tesla car, so he drove and charged his car. That was all he did. So I know that Henning was really singing his praises, because he didn't ask to be paid to go to Gear Street. So I don't know. I do understand where you're coming from, and you're right. It would be silly not to get some sort of compensation. And certainly, if it was me, I think if I was asked to go to Holland to look at guitar, I might expect them to pay for my flight and hotel, and maybe look after me while I was out there. But I don't know, Paul's got a lot of money.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing. He's if you're in a position to have money, how to make it, and I don't think you'd pass up an opportunity like that to make more of it. So it'd just be kind of dumb of you to do that. And it would also kind of explain his reticence to amend the video in the way that he was being asked to do so, because it took a while for him to change the title of that video. And when he did, the first time he didn't quite get there. It was kind of a half-assed, and then he went ahead and okay, whatever. And to pin his he made a comment but didn't pin it, and it was like it was up there for like a day, and it's like, dude, this comment's like way down the list. Nobody can see this unless it's pinned. Why would you do, like 20 people have seen this comment?
Well, you were instrumental in that. You were instrumental in along with a lot of others as well that were really kind. Mike the Knight, Phil McKnight, who else? There were a load of you guys who shared my first video to try and get the story out there. And also then you went on and said to Paul, pin your comment, and he did. But
I mean, that explains what I'm trying to say is, if he did get paid and there was a contract involved, even if it was just a verbal contract, hey, come over here, we'll give you some money to do this. He might have seen, well, I might be in breach of a contract if I go back on that now and start questioning it, publicly and all this. So I can understand that reticence from a legal perspective, possibly. But morally or ethically, I simply do not understand that reticence, because, if it turns out to not be the real thing, you could be really screwing somebody else even worse. And like you said, you pointed this out very well, I thought, in your video, that, hey, man, this is not good if somebody on the strength of your endorsement buys this guitar for anywhere near $10 million, which it probably wouldn't bring anywhere near that. They're just, that's pie in the sky. They're just shooting for the moon. But I mean, even if it brought $1 million, okay, you've screwed some poor sap out of $1 million, and that's not cool. Definitely. I don't care which way you slice it. That's fraud. Straight up
Totally
fraud.
agree with you.
If indeed the
Totally.
guitar is not real, it's not the real thing,
Yeah.
it's fraud.
Yeah.
So let's go
Well,
over, and on that note, if you don't mind,
yeah.
let's go over some of the things that you pointed out that were
Yeah.
wrong with the guitar, just starting with the headstock. Tell me about some of
Okay.
the things that were wrong on the headstock.
Yeah. In 1967, the Fender Group were sold to CBS, as you probably know. And at that stage, they changed the headstock to a larger CBS shape headstock. And also, the big problem with that headstock was that it was for a hardtail Strat and not a whammy toting Strat. So, as you know, Hendrix always had a whammy. He was the whammy king. And so the fact that it had a hardtail headstock on it was very strange, because when you look at the pictures from Monterey, you can actually see the trademark and tremolo wording underneath the Fender logo. And the Strat in question did not have that. So
the next thing that they might come back and say then is, okay, well, the part that we didn't show you, the provenance that we have, the guy gave us a letter and said that the neck was changed because Hendrix smashed it in the studio, and it's the real body, but just a changed neck. So what would you say to that? What about the body?
Well, the body has what I said in my video is that guitars do not heal themselves. And there are several marks. You can accept marks that have been gained over the years, and that all guitars of that age will get some dings and some extra marks on them. But one thing that doesn't happen is marks do not go away. Now, on the back of the guitar, there was a line of like buckle rash that just didn't match and is in a place where there is now finish on the guitar. There was also up on the belly calf, there was another bit of scarring that's gone away.
In the original? You mean in the original?
Yeah, from the pictures from Monterey. And what I did was I overlaid the two guitars and I orientated them and I manipulated them so they were exactly aligned. And the
seeing is believing, isn't it?
Yeah. Now I have to say, I have to be honest about this, Brad, because I am an honest person. The potential is that in manipulating those photographs, I could well have distorted it, but the scar on the current guitar is outside of the belly cut. The scar on the original guitar was inside the belly cut. And there are also two marks on the front that appear to have healed themselves as well. Now, it could be that they're going to say, well, actually, it was refinished. And that would be a travesty, because who would refinish a guitar that Hendrix has played?
Well, that was my next that was my next devil's advocate question. They're going to say that was refinished and then.
Yeah, and then played by a right-handed player, because all of the wear that's on it now is right-handed. You look at the top of the front calf, and it's that right-handed arm over the top.
But they weren't advertising it as having been refinished, were they?
No, they weren't, not at all.
So let's talk a little bit about then the first auction that they attempted to get this guitar into, that Heritage auctions. Heritage auctions, for my audience who, if you don't know, I mean, that's the one who sell a lot of the big guitars, the Clapton. I think they sold the Clapton Blackie, and the last Hendrix Strat that sold, I think they had sold as well. So they kind of have people who are experts in authenticating stuff like this and doing exactly what you did, which was looking back at the available visual evidence of an actual guitar and comparing it to make sure the provenance all matches up. So tell me a little bit about what happened with that auction.
Well, first of all, the guitar was originally bought for 120,000 in 2012.
By whom?
And then in by the
current
current
owners?
owner.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. And then they were going to sell it in 2017, and Heritage Auctions pulled the guitar completely. And it has been advertised that it was because they were not sure that it was a guitar that Hendrix played at Monterey. That is the statement that's out there. So we have to go by that, and we have to look into that. And that's what got me gigging in the first place, because guitar.com put that out almost 2 days after Paul released his video. So I was interested in that. And obviously when I saw the video to begin with, I was over the moon for Paul, because it was like, yes, what a great opportunity to play, this
Naturally,
part of history.
Yep.
And he's a lovely guy, and I was really pleased for him. But then this article came out, and I thought, do you know what? If he has got involved in this and it turns sour and turns out not to be the Monterey guitar,
he could be
and
implicated.
it sells for a lot of money, he could be implicated.
Yeah.
So I then started doing my digging, and well, I think the thing with the heritage auctions is they are refuting that now, but they don't give any evidence. So on guitar.com, Miles Porton tried to trash my reputation, and was making.
So let's talk just a little bit about that part. So what happened is you release your video, they send you a cease and desist. Is this the English version of a cease and desist? Is that?
Well, no, that he just threatened lots of times. Every single time I went back to him to say, look, I'm just asking questions, he was saying, your videos are devaluing the guitar. We will come after you for the difference in value. And I'm thinking, well, good luck with that, because I've got no money anyway. So, anyone that's sensible doesn't sue someone that's poor.
Anybody who's sensible, if they're sitting on a Fugazi as well, they're not going to start going after people who said, hey, man, that's a Fugazi.
How do you know it's a Fugazi? You looked at it for 2 seconds.
What do you want me to say? Go ahead, try and sell it. You want to be a Dunsky? Give it a shot.
Dunsky? You call me a Dunsky?
Exactly. So the thing was, as you know, Brad, I've been facing this motor neuron disorder recently, and that's why my speech is a bit funny at the moment. And
you sound good right now, for the record, man.
Thank you.
Perfectly.
Thank you very much. I've had a really good week this week, and I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. And in fact, my consultation on Tuesday was amazing. But
man, we'll
talk about that another time.
Okay.
Stress really does have a big effect on me at the moment, and certainly on my speech. So I just felt, look, I'm not going to fight this as I would normally. And believe me, I am just like you. I would normally have been right up for a fight on that. But being ill, I just wasn't. So I took all of my videos down. And then he tried to trash me on guitar.com. And I thought, no way. I'm not having this. So I put my video back up and made another video pointing out all of the errors in his story on guitar.com. And what's more, as a result of that, guitar.com then gave me the right to reply, which I did in writing, and they published that as well.
Guitar.com has been really good about covering this kind of news. I mean, you have to understand, because I worked for a magazine for a little while, about 10, 15 years ago. And it's not easy, like, securing advertisers and doing all the things you got to do to run a magazine. But they seem to walk a good balance of giving you real news on these companies, and yet, still being able to get along with them and, show their newest thing over here. But when they fuck up, Guitar has done a good job about calling calling a lot of these companies out, like when Gibson ran over all the guitars and stuff,
Yeah.
stuff like that, that could be embarrassing to an advertiser that normally a lot of magazines they table that stuff, man.
No, I'm very impressed with them. I
Yeah.
think they balance the argument really, really well. And in fact, it was their initial article that got me started in the first place. And of course, you know me, when it comes to fake guitars, I dig and dig and dig and dig until I find the proof. But I wasn't going to lay down and let him trash me in public. So it's all back up. And all it was asking questions. And I'm afraid if you've got nothing to hide, then questions should not be at all worrying to you or troubling to you. You should just answer them. But I have a feeling that they're difficult questions to answer because of the proof that I put out there that does kind of contravene the idea that this is the Monterey guitar.
And if it is the Monterey guitar, then they have some explaining to do additionally as to when this thing was refinished, when the neck was changed.
The back plate has got an F plate on it as well. And the serial number is 157159, which is a 1967 registration, which would have made it a large headstock CBS era. So there's a lot of stuff that needs sort of answering, and I've put all the questions out there, and they haven't answered them yet.
They have this supposed list of the provenance that they supply to potential buyers under the table or whatever. Some people have said, okay, well, you don't want to just put the provenance out there just willy-nilly, because anybody could try to then fake that onto a different guitar and then pop up and claim, actually, we're the ones that have this guitar with that provenance, you bastards, that. So I get that. But however, some of the provenance that they're using is very shady. And I think people should start to question when they're buying anything that somebody has attached a story to that is adding that much value to an object. You have to really scrutinize. Like they're using Fender as one of the sources of provenance. How can Fender possibly know whether or not this is the Monterey Strat of Hendrix? All they can say is whether or not this is an authentic 19 whatever Strat.
Well, that's all they can really say. They actually quote, and Paul took it down. I've got the original quote, and there are 3 master builders from Fender that have allegedly said that it is the Monterey Strat. But the one thing with provenance is I understand why you don't release it and send it out to the public, because it could be doctored, but you can release information from within that provenance. So you could say, these are the people at Fender that have said that it is the Monterey Strat, or here is a picture of the 2 guitars that look identical.
You just don't show their signatures on an actual document that somebody could then,
Exactly. That's all you don't do. You don't put it out there so someone can doctor it, but you can give information that is on that provenance, and that would, as Lawrence said, the guy that very kindly let me use his video, it would benefit them to put some of that provenance out there for people.
I will link his video also, in addition to yours. I'll put links up wherever, up here somewhere. So if everybody wants to go check these videos out and see the timeline of exactly what happened, I'll also put sources in the description to all the guitar.com articles that covered this, and Miles's response and your response to Miles, and this back and forth war of words that I'm sure you didn't. And here's the ultimate accusation, Mike. Are you in this for the views? Are you just doing this to try to get views off of your friend Paul?
No, man. Listen, right. I've released a video tonight about a very, very rare Beatles guitar, and that video is number 10 out of 10 videos. We get them ranked. But
our last
I met
10.
up with two lovely guys on Monday, and this is the sort of content that I love making. I do follow up on the fake guitars from time to time. I also do demos and reviews of stuff, but I make content that I think that my regulars will enjoy, and I don't do anything that I don't want to do. That's why my channel's still so small. I don't go out looking for that kind of exposure. The only reason I got involved in this in the first instance was to protect my buddy Paul.
Right. Well, man, if there's something that we haven't covered that you can think of, speak now or forever hold your codpiece.
Well, I just want to say that I look forward to the day when Paul comes out and maybe defends me and understands that I was defending him. And also, I do hope that I can still work with the current owner and Miles to get a little bit more of the provenance out there and a little bit more of the story so that people can balance the argument. I'm all about balancing the debate. I'm not out there just to shoot people down and say that their guitar's nonsense. If they can prove bits of that guitar and they can prove that it was refinished, the neck was swapped, the neck plate was off of a later model, you know, all those things, if that can come out, that'd be great because it will balance it. But what I don't put up with is people threatening me and trying to take me to court for asking questions.
Yes, particularly from a media influencer. That's a weird way to influence the media now, isn't it? To threaten to.
Very, very weird. You know, you think after 30 years in the job, he might know it a bit better.
See, I think this is the thing. People underestimate these, some of us, our small channels and our ability to get the word out about things. You know, I've broken news on my tiny channel too, you know, that has made the guitar, you know, kind of that's made headlines on some of the big magazines and stuff. And it's just like, you can't underestimate the outliers, man, and start threatening people. That he should have taken a different tact with that. I don't understand why he would do that, not just invite you in and at least show you personally, okay, this is confidential. I can show you what we have. You can't obviously copy this stuff, photocopy it, but you can talk about what I've shown you, you know, and this is the story. This is the gentleman that owns it now. Here's where he got it from, or he got it from this guy who had, you know, assured him in writing that, you know, it came from such and such something. You got to be able to see the provenance of it.
Well, I offered to sign NDAs and go and look at it. And there was talk of that at one point. And I haven't closed the door, and neither have they. That's all I can say at this point.
Well, good. That's a mature way to approach things. That's the way people should behave toward one another, whether it's personally or as legal entities. I mean, you have to be able to extend olive branches to other people.
And show some respect for people and not trash them. You know, the only reason that I put the videos back up and made more was because of the way that he behaved on guitar.com. You know, I was quite happy to let it lie. And, you know, I got Paul to change his title twice. He put that statement out that was covered by guitar.com. He was in the clear, so I didn't need to do any more. But when they start threatening, you just think, no, I'm not having this. I won't be bullied. I will never be bullied, no matter how sick I am. I won't be bullied. And so I stood up for myself.
Well, good for you, Mike. I definitely commend you. And just one more question. You know, just to clarify, you're not accusing these people of nefariously and knowingly trying to defraud anyone, are you?
No, not at all. I'm just providing the visual evidence that it seems fairly obvious from looking at the guitar. If they have provenance that proves otherwise, I will be over the moon, and I will feature it on my channel.
That's about all you can offer, man. That's about all you could ask anyone who's putting themselves in a position of journalist, for whatever that means, in this new age of internet weirdness, right?
Yeah, right.
All right, Mike, at CGS Guitars. I'll put links down to his channel down in the description, and maybe up here in one of these cards. You guys definitely go check out Mike's channel. And Mike, thank you for being here, brother. I appreciate it, and all the best to you in your fight with whatever it is that's ailing you right now, man. Have they figured out anything more since we last talked?
Yeah, thanks for that, man. Thanks for inviting me on to give me another forum to say a few of these bits on. Yeah, I had a really, really good appointment on last Tuesday, and he doesn't want to see me for another 6 months.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
going for physio and speech therapy, and he is fairly confident that in 6 months' time, they're going to just say, that's it. We can leave you alone now. So I'm keeping my fingers firmly crossed that all that works. But thanks for that.
Just don't get them stuck there, man.
I can't cross these ones.
It's like, oh no, what do I do? How do I play guitar? All right, guys, that'll do it for this video. Thanks for sticking around for so long and checking out this one. Please do check out Mike's videos and his channel. Give him a sub. Check out some of the videos that were mentioned. As I mentioned, also, I've put all the sources for everything discussed down in the description of this video. So if you're interested in further reading, all of that stuff is down there. To the current owners of this guitar, Miles, the media influencer guy that represents them, you guys are more than welcome to come on my channel and respond if you'd like to. The offer extends, and my email address is always in the description of my videos. So that'll do it for this one. And for now, y'all take care.
Now we got about 2 minutes to figure a way out of this thing.
I'm sorry.
You're sorry? Shut the fuck up.